What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? Welcome to another episode of the Stoked podcast, creative talk with creative people. I am writer, artist, creator, most opinionated man in comics to this day. Still, nobody's taking the belt. That's okay. It'll never happen. I am Javon Stokes. It's a pleasure to see you guys again. We had a show last week. I think we have a show this week, and then I don't think I have one planned next week. Next Thursday is my son's birthday. And just gonna not have a show that day and chill and spend time with the little boy, even though he goes to bed around this time anyway, so whatever. But it's a pleasure to do this again, be here again. I don't have any con to announce that I'm gonna be at this weekend. That's amazing. But I will be visiting. I'm doing my best to get to New York Comic Con this weekend. It's in the air right now. It's iffy, but hopefully I'll be there Saturday. If you see me Saturday, come say hi. There's a slight chance I might have a couple of books on me. So if you want to buy a book, holla at me. Today's guest this is his second time on the show, I believe. We've only had a couple people be on twice, but he's decided he's up for some more abuse. But that's okay. Like we appreciate people coming on, and especially creative folks. I love writer artists. Like I'm a big fan of writers because I'm a writer artist. This gentleman here, who still hasn't given me a copy of his book. I just want y'all to understand that. Still hasn't given me a copy of his book. He's creator of Afro Avenger and the just released Black Man comic book. The Kickstarter's just finished. So let's give a Stoked podcast round of applause to the one and only Kevin Chapman.
I remember my first time on this show. The intro was immaculate. You just threw my joint together this time.
Listen,
that's
man,
okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been throwing a lot of them together. I have been busier. I am in the hustle part of my career right now. I have some things coming up. Some of y'all done heard about it through the grapevine. Other stuff I've announced one. I just started putting the stuff together for the other. So the time it takes for me to like sit and craft glowing intros that's gone, man.
I see, brother. Okay, you get your little late night show, you get your little fame. You know what I mean? You don't care about your guests.
It's not even fame, bro. I'm busy, man. This is listen. You ever heard the saying like, what is it? It was like, don't complain about how much you want on your plate. At one point, you asked for this. That's where I'm at right now. Okay. That's where I'm at. Okay. So I ain't gonna complain. I'm busy. I'm gonna be real with you, and we'll start talking. But I have struggled to even put together guests for this show. Like it's getting to the point where the show is taking a hit, and like I gotta like in 1 week I gotta scramble and put stuff together. I need an assistant. That's what I need. But we might get there. But welcome again. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, man. It's good to be back on the Stoked podcast when there's one Stoke here, but we'll take it.
We always stoked. No matter how many Stokes is on it. It's always stoked.
Appreciate it, brother.
And congratulations on the successful Kickstarter.
Thank you.
These things are not easy to do.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. Even the ones that look easy. Hold on. What's up, buddy? Okay, all right. Daddy's on the show. I'll talk to you. Listen, you get all next Thursday to talk to me. All right.
Get all next Thursday. On a Friday. Let me schedule on a Friday around 2:30.
I'm gonna write you in on the schedule, son.
Oh man.
Oh man. See, this is why we never get to the interview. That's not true. Actually, I take that back. We actually did a little interview last time.
We did.
Just a little bit.
It was a good 15 minutes, and then next thing you know, it was just all roast. It was just all roast and conversation. It was watching just you basically walked into a black dude living room by like the 30-minute mark of this show.
Hey,
So
listen, man. Listen, I saw something this. I think it was Greg Elise. He posted something about how like young folks of this generation are soft because they couldn't handle like the AOL chat rooms back in the day.
yeah,
And I was like, you know what? You're right, because the
yeah.
roasting that used to take place in schools,
Oh,
you might get kicked out. You might
yeah,
get kicked out of school nowadays.
yeah. Like you grew your tough skin in that middle school era, just getting roasted. Because once one start, here come the wave, boy, and then like it's just like what's my man name? Jon Snow, and he took the sword out.
The sword out.
That's exactly what roasting is, boy. It's
Hey man,
coming for you.
it's sink or swim too. So
For real.
because if you don't get it, like what people don't realize, we're so off topic, but whatever. What people don't realize about roasted is like, at least for back in the days, you had to say a joke against, if it was a group of people and they was all snapping at you, your joke had to be so good at one of the people.
Yep.
To turn the attention to the group to that person, and then you good. But if you can't get nobody, then you stuck.
Yeah, you stuck. You just gotta sit there and take it. It's like the Cobra Kai kids when they surrounded Danny the first time. It's like you better take them lashes, dog. You can't kick back.
You can't do that nowadays, man. You can't do that. There's too much talk of mental health and
bullying. It's called bullying now.
It's bullying now. Yeah, it's bullying now. Yeah.
When I was coming up, man, you had to get your sandwich stuffed in your pants to be a bully. Yeah, you had to get stuffed in your locker when I was coming up.
Yeah. Like bullying required like physical violence.
Yeah.
Like snapping. I used to get snapped on because back in the day, my mom, we didn't have a lot of money, but I used to get like either hand-me-downs or it'd be a long time before I get like new jeans. So I'd have high waters, man.
Oh,
merciless. Merciless. I got made fun of because I used to bring lunch to school. That's how bad it was. I just brought lunch to school. I just brought lunch. I had a lunch bag. I literally had a lunch bag. It ain't had nothing but a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in it. It was a Chicago Bulls lunch bag. And I got and people would make fun of me of it. I was just like, dude, I'm eating food. Like, what's so funny about eating food, man? With yo funky little. I was just like, hey, man.
This dude Kev got baloney. And this old weak old dude got baloney. That's why your bones weak, dog. I'm like,
peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly. Like it's a foreign concept.
Like, I just eat my sandwich. Like, why you got to bring the whole table into this, man?
That kid will be expelled. Now,
for real,
like I would be allowed to get a mental health day if that was man. Those sound so bad, but honestly, I think that type of stuff made me stronger. But it's not looked at like that now.
Oh no. If anything, those things just made me like from my family, my friends to like you get tough shells. By the time you get to our age, it's like them snapbacks is quick. It's like, okay, hey bro, like I know you ain't talking with them jeans on, bro. Like,
hey, can I be real with you? Can I be real? Yeah. When I meet people and I talk, if I've ever met you in life, and this is a defense mechanism, I'm well aware of it. I size you up and I think of a joke just in case you decide you won't snap at me. You could be the nicest person in the world, but I'm like, I'm talking to you. We cool. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, the pants. Okay, the pants. All right. Oh. And I just file it in the Rolodex. So if ever you want to come for me.
No, I'm the same way, dude. I usually I keep it in. You know what I'm saying? I'm the person. I'm the person that's in the back of the crowd. And you know what I'm saying? I just like, I just let it happen. Just let it happen. But just somebody want to come my way, I'm like, hey, it better be loaded. you better be loaded. I'm just letting you know that right now. I come for you. Listen. I'm the type of person to say something like they go, "Ooh, okay, Kev, too much."
It's funny.
Too much.
I had Rodney Barnes is on this show. Rodney was snapping. He was snapping.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, I'm like, he's a guest on your show. You can't say what you want to say. So you got to take this L. Just take the L.
Right.
But in
Take
my
the
mind,
L.
man,
You was lighting them up. You was lighting them up.
I was like, if I say this, he might not come back on the show anymore. So that's what I thought. But hopefully, I'm gonna see him. If I see him at Comic-Con, I'm like, I got some jokes for you.
Oh yeah, you gotta light them up. Just cause.
I took the L. I can't take the fall anymore.
Like my one just read like that's funny you said that, man. Like my one homie recently, man, like he was a big fitness guru. I ain't seen him in some years. And he got a little bigger. You know what I mean? I'm a big dude too, so I try to keep the big dude joints equal. And I'm like, I ain't gonna say nothing, he ain't gonna say nothing. First thing out of his mouth, damn, Kev, you put a little weight on. I said, brother, you go to Burger King, they whisper your name, they put an extra patty on your bun. Don't come for me, fam. Don't come for me, dog. Like, I'm like, man, you put a milkshake in a first aid kit. Don't.
But you know what? I try to be a sensitive person, but like big dudes always want to talk trash about my weight. Like I'm a slim guy, and so now this skinny dude, I was like, listen, man, come on now. Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this, man. It was way easier for me to make fun of a big dude than you to make fun of me.
He's like, you let you too much material.
Stop. Let's stop.
Right.
But anyway, man, welcome on. I don't know how. Listen, if you're watching the show for the first time, you didn't see the last Kevin Chapman interview, that was a taste. We will not stay on topic. It never happened.
Yes.
So let's talk, man. So you're coming off a very successful Kickstarter for Black Man. Tell everybody about Black Man. Give us the elevator pitch.
Black Man Eternal Conflict, man, is essentially a superhero, man, who's going having a mental breakdown, essentially. I can't say I always wanted to tell that story, but like I've probably told this story many times, but how it started is because I personally had a mental breakdown in June. And my character, Afro Avenger, just wasn't doing it at the moment, especially just where I was going with it. And so I just, like always, I just put him to the side and just started working out, just doodling up some things, just working on some pages. Like, I'll use this design later, blah, blah, blah. And then about 15, 17 pages in, I was like, let's see where this goes, right? And then, next, that was in June. So, like, about 4th of July week, and that was, like, June 3rd. So, about 4th of July week, and I had, like, 62 pages done.
Wow.
Just working it out, just drawing, just trying to, like, exercise it out, because, like I said, just, like, Afro Avengers wasn't doing it for me, and it just helped me. It got me through, along with my fiance. She gets a lot of the credit also. But it just got me through. So, I did a Kickstarter before, it failed. I originally wasn't gonna do a Kickstarter, but I said let's see. I took points from Danny J. Quick. Everybody know him. I kind of took some pointers from him and stuff like that, and just like, all right, let's just see. Whatever happens. Sure enough, it funded. So now, like, I'm not saying I'm in the handcuffs, but it's like,
now okay, you gotta do it.
Now I gotta do it. Now it's done. So adding the words to it, doing all that scripting it out, and it's like one of my toughest, funnest projects I've done in a long time, because it's essentially introducing a character, because I wanted to do a character with a clean slate. Obviously, he was a clean slate, and it's introducing the character, making him cool, telling the story, finishing it, done, and
That's
being done with it.
So there's no follow up for this.
No, I don't. What's crazy? My fiance asked me the same question, like, would I ever do a part 2? I said, nah. I think I want to close them out, be done with it. Like, we'll have this conversation next year, but it'll probably be just nah. Because where he started was just a dark place for me, and then to kind of finish him off and want to close that chapter and be done with it will probably be the best thing. But who knows? I mean, like, anything could be well received. Hell, Afro Avengers was only supposed to go like 4 or 5 issues at one point. I'm at 11, so we'll see.
Now, do you feel that you you run into burnout a lot because you are the writer and the artist and everything? Do you feel
Uh,
that that's part of it?
a little bit. I think what it is just like when your creative juices, because like I'm a type of person when I like to create a character, I want to at least be 5 books in before I put like pen to paper. And so for Afro Avenger to have so many or so much of my creative juices, it just I don't want to say it weighed on me, but I just honestly want just like it just it's just Mike Zeck. Mike Zeck. I know I bring that name up a lot, but Mike Zeck told me like the greatest thing is like one of those things like I listened to him then, but it's more and more real now. And it's like fall in love with your character because when you draw the same person over and over again, you will realize how much you hate and love that character. And it's like one of
Mm-hmm.
the truest statements ever. And
Mm.
Brad, whoever making it, I need a cut. Who up here just making Afro? Like, you think I didn't see that comment, Brad? See, Brad, you lucky you got all the books in a shirt, Brad,
Hey,
boy, because I
listen,
called you
Brad is independently wealthy, and he tried to front like that. No man that's got a medium paying job, you know, does that many Kickstarters, and
Fam.
like, hey, no man. So
Listen,
Brad front. Brad is Tony Stark, and
Brad,
he ain't telling the truth.
too much already. It better. It better. You know what? It better look good. That's all I'm gonna say, Brad. It better look good. It better look clean. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I
But
get
yeah,
it
like
though. I
yeah.
understand. I understand. You know, especially you and I are both writer artists. We do the
Mm-hmm.
majority of our work,
Right.
and you know, like I tell people all the time, I don't generally go back and reread my books because by
Right.
the time I'm done with that book, I'm so friggin' tired of it. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it 100,000 times
Right.
because you know you draw it, then you ink it, then you do the flats, then you color it, then you
Mm-hmm.
letter it, like, and then you have to like edit it as you're going. You're so tired of it.
Right.
So I totally get burnout. We've had this discussion before. Like I had burnout with Heat, no pun intended.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I was like, I want to do something else, and you know, Strong came out of that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, if it wasn't for you know a Todd McFarlane documentary where he was essentially saying the same thing, I
Mm-hmm.
probably wouldn't. I'd probably be doing like 14 other things. But you know, one for me, I realized I had to pace myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm doing like Heat number 3 right now, but I'm also writing and drawing and doing design work. So I'm doing other things in the middle of it so that I
Right.
don't burn out on Heat.
Yeah.
So I don't like, all right, man, I'm so freaking tired of this character.
Right. Yeah. And I think that was for I think right now Black Man is the middle ground for me where it's like I don't hate Afro Avenger because I think I felt that a lot before my mental breakdown was like I hate this dude so bad now because it's because
I've been
it's
there.
it's like and I think it's just like for me it's like I set a goal for myself and it's just like man like because I always hear the story you probably hear it too where it's like you have the indie creators or the indie people that come out with something and then they'll come out one or two and then be gone.
Yep.
You never see them. So it's like I find myself like, oh, you ain't gonna never hear that about me. Like, so it's like but now I put myself in this box of just like, man, I'm gonna be burning myself the oil dry like all the time. But it's like now I find myself I don't post a lot no more, but like now I just do little doodles and stuff just to kind of like break it up some and like I got so many designs and characters and
I see
knockoffs and
him. I see him all
funnies
the
and
time, man.
yeah, it's just like it's one of those things just like now there's a medium ground for Afro where he can breathe, I can breathe, and I don't feel like I'm handcuffed to a brick of just, you know, stuck to this guy. And it's like, because my fiance, she asked me like a great question. She said, who would you rather strike lightning and be hot? Afro or Black Man? I said, it's got to be Afro because Black Man is just I hate to say he the replacement guy right now until that's done, because once it's done, it's done. Like I
Right.
hate to say it, it's like it's tough. It's like asking if Batman and Robin were separate entities. You know for a fact nobody wants Robin to strike lightning. You want Batman to strike lightning. It's
Right.
the same
Right.
thing. That's exactly what I kind of want to do. So that's why hopefully I think it's messed up, and I'm still grateful though. As much as I wanted the Kickstarter to be funded, I said, "Don't, Lord, I want to be famous, not with him." Not not with him. This ain't the Kickstarter I want to wake up to day 28, $40,000 been donated to him. It's like, come on, man.
Why?
Like,
Why? I'm just curious.
because
Why?
I think it's just because like I don't. It's it helped me and it served its purpose versus Afro Avenger been with me through the mud, through the he black Batman. I get it. Through the high, like, oh, okay, oh, he poor. Like, I through all that turmoil, just like, crawling from little old Beasley issue 1 to like just throwing 20 pages together, thinking, hey, I did it. I finally made a comic book. Yay. Selling out 50, anticipation for issue 2, fan base growing by issue 3. Like the growth with Afro, there's no growth with Black Man. It's just, for me, it's a character that helped me get through the darkest point of my life. We here. We almost at the finish line. Let's close it up. Now, if Black Man would have did what because I just put it on my Twitter with Sean G. Murphy's Zorro just did.
Oh man, listen.
Yeah.
That's absurd, man.
Yeah,
That's absurd, dude. It's absurd. It really is absurd what he was able to do. I am so jealous. In the most happy for him way. I'm jealous.
Exactly.
But I understand. I do understand that. I like part of me, because Heat was my first real indie book, and I've done more issues of Heat. Like I want Heat to hit. Like I want it to be
right.
But on the flip side of it, since I've done Strong, I've done shows where I've sold out of Strong and still had copies of Heat. And when I'm realizing, and I've said this, I've told this story before, but for those that haven't watched the show, I tell these stories multiple times because it's always somebody's first.
It's your show. Tell it again, Javon.
You're right. When I had the conversation with Dennis Cohen, and he was like, dude, you need to be finding other people to draw these books. Because you create, if you find somebody to do Heat, you can go do something else. And then Heat, and you can still write Heat, and you can sign every copy of Heat that you get as your character. Same thing with Strong. Same thing with, yada, yada, yada. And it just it helped me come to realization that it doesn't matter which one hits.
Right.
Like, because I look at it like the Robert Kirkman thing. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Robert wanted Invincible to hit, but Walking Dead hit. Yeah. But Walking Dead would allow him to be able to make Invincible hit.
Oh, fair point.
So, if somebody came to me and was like, we want to do Strong as a movie, bet.
Right.
And I'll do, and I'm sure everybody's always looking for the next big thing or whatever. So, maybe he can get a chance to blow up off the shine of Strong. And in the end, it's your creation.
It doesn't matter. I never looked at it that way. And I think I guess in the short term answer, if it in the back end can do, like you said, with Robert Kirkman, Walking Dead, different Invincible, if Black Man was to do that for Afro Avenger, I would be perfectly fine with that. I think my biggest thing would just be Afro got to strike lightning, man. That's like putting a car together. Afro Avenger for me is like putting a car together, right? And you got the engine finally going just to run out of gas. That's what I don't want to happen.
Yeah, but don't look at it like that.
Right. And I still love them. I mean, shoot, like issue 12, 13, and 14 is plotted in 12 is 90% done, and 13 is 50% done. So
Does
these
it?
things.
Do you ever feel like maybe you should get another artist to do it, and then you can go do something else?
Every time, it's crazy. I think I answered this question before. I would rather get artists for my other creations than Afro, just because like I think I would have to Eric Larson that thing and just let my brain just write and work for everything else, every other team, the movement, unique, united. I'd rather do all let other artists do that. But after me and Afro going like we don't lock hands in this. We like Lawrence Fishburne and what's the boy? The Baldwin brother from Fled. Like, dude, we in
Oh
this
yeah, yeah, yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
all right.
we in this together. Yeah, so like, I'd rather do that.
Honestly, like I used to feel that way, but I really just want like I just wanted to I want to get as many ideas out there as possible.
Absolutely.
So like I've already told people, I have a couple of people who I'm working with to try and take over for me for Heat.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was going to try and finish out this storyline,
Mm-hmm.
but so many other things are happening in my life that I might have to give it up early.
Really?
Which is yeah. So I mean, strong. I have a young lady who I would like to work with her and do take over for strong. The script for that is written.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to tighten it up and then give it to her.
Right.
But strong Heat, I have written up to issue number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Number 3, like I said, I have about almost 10 pages done. 10 to 28. I think because I have a horror book that I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have this children's comic book that I want to do.
Okay.
Um, I might have to let go. And as much as I wanted to finish out the next 2 issues,
Mm-hmm.
if I do that, they might not come out for like years.
Got you. I see what you're
That's how
saying.
much stuff is coming my way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm legitimately looking at this and going, is it time for me to let go?
Right.
And it's tough. Like I totally understand with you. I used to be like you. I used to be like, me and he are locked in. Hey,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this is my baby. Da, 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 da. But you know
Right.
what though? Like I said, once I had that conversation with Dennis Cohen, and he was just like, "You got 2 more." He was just like, "You're very creative. You should be making all as much stuff as you can." And I feel that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can get like I have this itch to do this horror book. I want to do this horror book for maybe 2 or 3 issues, and then give that to somebody else, and to do this
Right.
joke. You know what I mean? Like so,
Right.
but I understand like not wanting to let it go. Like I truly do. I
Yeah.
do
It's
empathize.
because it's just like you have a vision, you have a style vision, because the style vision is your vision when you're the artist writer. It's just like you see it one way, and it's just like, and I think that's what's crazy to kind of like bring it back full circle. That's what's very hard for me to like finish issue 2 of the movement, because I see it as a writer, I just don't see it as an artist. And I think it's just like maybe it's my limitations, maybe it's just the style that I want is not displayed properly how I wanted to be displayed and things of that nature. And it's like, so it's like the movement got 4 issues written out for me, but like as far as like drawing it, like I think I only got like maybe like 6 pages done of doing it. Like it's to the point now, like I think I might fit like just to keep the palette wet for people who do love the movement, like just throw it in the back of an Afro Avenger book. Like, hey, here's the first few pages of that, just to kind of just get myself motivated
Right.
and get
It's
it
not a bad
going, and
idea.
then but I think it also that just came from a place like, man, like the movement Kickstarter failed, man. So it's like, how much love does it really have? So I find myself backpedaling with that thought, and then Black Man was successful, and it's like, is he? It's just back and forth, but it's just like obviously Afro Avenger is the Spider Man to this ship, if you ask me. So
No, I hear you. I
yeah,
do. I do. I do.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing is doing this whole heat wave tour, doing
Mm-hmm.
5011 Comic Cons.
which is immaculate, by the way. You
I I,
definitely deserve your flowers for that,
I
bro.
appreciate it. I actually was counting it up. By the end of it, it'll be about 31, 32.
Oh wow.
But I will say that it has re-energized me
Mm-hmm.
to do heat and strong and stuff like that. Like I used to feel, I used to be like I gotta do another issue. Because
Mm-hmm.
for those that don't know it, when you're writing and drawing something, it just takes so much energy and
Mm-hmm.
time. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's once you finish a book, you're like, oh, and then it's like you gotta do another one. You're like, at least for me, I can't speak for nobody else.
Like for me, what re-energizes me to like to the motivation to keep going is obviously my love for the craft, obviously, but getting behind that table and even if it's one fan out of the seven, it's that one person like, oh, I just finished 11. I needed 12. Like, I couldn't wait for 12 or I couldn't wait for this one. I'm
Absolutely,
like,
yeah,
cool, thank you. It makes that the worthwhile for me because listen, I've done it all. I've dropped Afro. Afro was gone in a day. Till I dropped Afro, it took me months to get rid of certain, weight and stuff like that. So that doesn't really excite me no more. It's more just the interaction with the fan. Like my favorite story of all time. This dude literally just bought issue one of Afro Adventure. Matter of fact, no, he bought the first two issues and he was like, "Hey man, I'm just buying this because you're a brother, man. I want to see, us brothers, just rise up." I'm like, it's just books, brother. But thank you for helping
I'll
me,
take
I'll take
whatever reason,
yeah,
please.
whatever your reason is to help me purchase.
Whatever, I don't
Thank,
care.
thank you.
I could care
So,
less.
so he left. The show's a 2-day show. So the dude came back, and I'm like, all right, it's a 2-day show, whatever. Literally came to my table. Yeah, let me get 3 through 8. I said, what? He said, man, the cliffhangers, man. You leave cliffhangers. I said, let me get to 3 through 8. I said, all right, cool, get 3 through 8. And then, like, he said, yo, he been a fan ever since that moment, man. Like, I literally get emails from him to this day. Like, hey, man, hope, like, the last one I got was, like, last month. Hope everything is all right, man. But that 12 need to hurry up. I said, okay, man. Like, calm down, brother. But yeah, like so those interactions is what keeps me going and motivated to like continue Afro. That know that Afro has a fan base from you know here to Europe. I literally just shipped 2 sets of issues 1 through 10 to Europe in July. So for that to happen
That's
alone
amazing,
is
man. That's
is
amazing.
the gap. Yeah, is the lightning rod that I need for me for especially for Afro. So
Yeah, definitely that fan involvement, that fan, like the immediacy of it is
mm-hmm.
definitely something that keeps me. I love like, one of my favorite feelings is when when somebody like I told you, you see the people when they walk by, they're like,
Yeah, right.
they're like, and like I've had people like walk and they'll just like stand there like this,
Mhm.
like their
Mhm.
body is is like that way, but their head is like this, like they're just
Right.
you know, and then they'll come over. They don't always buy, but that that like I'm trying to see what you're about, and
Mhm.
I like your artwork. At the very least, I like your artwork because there are days
Right.
where I'm like, I'm telling you, people don't know my imposter syndrome is can be serious some days.
Really?
Yeah. I've spoken about that before, but there
Mhm.
are days where I'm just like, do y'all like this?
Oh
Because
yeah.
sometimes it's not coming out the way I see it in my head, and so I
Mhm.
get frustrated. And so
Yeah.
like I'll see a page, like I'll do a page, and I'll be like, I don't know if I like this page, but I got to keep moving. I got to keep moving. And then
Mhm.
people will be like, oh, I love this page. And I'm just like, really? Okay. All right.
Right.
Like, so it's not like something that stays around all the time.
Mhm.
But, every now and again, it's like, maybe I didn't sleep right or, you know, didn't get enough to eat or, they got, that I'm
Right.
hangry or whatever. But whatever it is, Like I get the imposter syndrome. Like nobody's buying my book because they like it. They only buying
Right.
it because they're just being nice to me or something like
Right.
that. Like it'll last for maybe like 10 minutes, and then
Yeah.
I'll like shake it off and then keep going.
You call it the imposter syndrome. I call it the rapper syndrome. You ever hear the story, or just musicians? You ever hear the story about an artist and that number one hit was a song they didn't like on the album anyway, or they didn't want it on the album, or they just didn't, like it didn't feel for the album, stuff like, and that's their biggest song ever. That's how I am about Afro Avenger issue 7, yo. It's like, and a lot of it because it's all action. I like telling story. I like doing the setup and
Right,
stuff
right.
like that. So for it to be kind of all action and then kind of end on another cliffhanger, I was kind of like, I didn't, because my filler book, I hate filler books, but issue 6 was essentially a filler book for me. So to get to 7, and it's like, I feel like, did I just do 2 back-to-back filler books? And then, but everybody loves 7. It's like everybody loves the action of 7. Everybody loves the ending. Everybody loves like the art. And I'm like, word? Okay. Like, okay, cool,
Listen,
great.
I have a 2-page spread, and so what I've been doing lately, or what I've been doing, is I've been trying to one up myself.
Mm-hmm. I
So
do it
like
all the time.
my first book, my first Heat book had a 2-page spread in the beginning, and then I did my graphic novel right after the 3-issue miniseries. I did a graphic novel, and then I was like, I gotta one up it. I gotta do bigger. So I did
Mm-hmm.
2-page spreads,
Mm-hmm.
and then the new Heat #1 came out, and I was like, I gotta do bigger. I gotta do bigger. So I did another 2-page spread, and like I'm trying to push myself. But the first 2-page spread, every time I look at it, all I see are the flaws. All I see are the
Yeah.
flaws.
Yeah.
Or I think of like, man, I could have did this. I should have did that. But then like, I always bring my original artwork. Most of the time I bring my original artworks to cons, and people flip through it and they're like, I love this. This is so nice. And I'll be like, really? Really? All right. Okay. All right. If you like it. But it's because we're surrounded by so many amazing artists.
Exactly.
And I look at their work and I'm like,
dog.
mother.
Man,
Man, if I see one
dude.
more Marcus Williams damn drawing that's fly as hell, if I see one more new piece of artwork from you that's friggin' amazing, we gonna have to fight.
Dude,
We gonna have to fight.
you wanna hear a short story about earning your lumps and still coming out on victory, like coming out on
Go
top a
ahead.
little bit. Man, so Buffalo Comic Con here in my city, like a few years ago, they used to do the real big convention. They used to do the multiple days. This one particular year, they had Ken Lashley.
Ooh, he's a
I
he's a
don't know. I don't know who set these tables up, because they had like basically like the famous people essentially like along one wall, and they had Artist Alley along another one. My table is like no further than like you sitting across from a dinner table essentially, was directly across from Ken Lashley, and like for a good 2 hours, I got nothing but backs just surrounded by Ken Lashley's table, man. And it's like, I will never forget this one guy. And just to set the scene up, I just sold like Afro Avenger. This is like issue 5 or 6 at the time. I just sold Afro Avenger issue 5 to this young lady. Said, thank you for buying the book, blah, 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 blah. Dog, I kid you not, right? I don't I don't know if she just saw something on the table that he drew. Dude, my book dropped to the ground, and she was sitting at the Ken Lashley's table for like 45 minutes, cleaning his table up. Walked away, and then came back for my book she dropped on the ground. Dog.
Did she buy your book?
Yeah, she bought it.
Oh, okay.
But it was just something like she didn't even care if she dropped it. It's like she was like, to me, you remember Toy Story when like Woody was having them dreams that he had Buzz, and like, I don't want to play with you no more. That's exactly how I felt my book dropped on that floor that day, dog. And then she came back and was like, oh, hey girl, I see you running back for the book, man. You're like, it was like crushing, but I still made out good that day. That's why I said I took my lunch, but I still kind of made out good as far as profit wise go, but it was just like, man, them first 2 hours was like just like Tyson punching a wall, man. It was bad, man.
I
It was so
had
bad.
a con. I'm not gonna say I don't want to put names out there. I had a con this year where I was next to an incredible artist. Not gonna call him out. He knows who he is, and he's a great person.
Right.
We talked
that's the worst.
We talked the entire con. We were, he's super cordial. We exchanged phone numbers. He was like, "I'll be on your podcast." I actually supposed to call him back. Terrible. But his work was so freaking good. And everybody, they were like waiting at his table for him. If he left, people would come by and they would just like stand at his table and wait. And I would just be like, "Hey man, why y'all waiting? Y'all want to come look at this?" And they'd be like, "Okay, all right," And so, I get frustrated, but at the same time, those are like humbling experiences for me.
Exactly.
Because then there are those days where like I'm next to somebody who maybe is just starting out.
Right.
And, people are coming to my table. So at least, I get like those reality checks, like, you ain't nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? So
you ain't the big fish.
Right. You ain't a big fish yet. You still got some ways to go. But it motivates me though. It motivates me.
One of my closest friends, man, closest like artist people that I've known and met, a mentor, Nigel Carrington, man. I remember them early days, especially like me and Nigel used to have tables near each other, man. And like Nigel had a whole setup at the cage with his books and stuff like that, got the turnaround and stuff, got his art. And Nigel was one of them artists was like, man, like your pen got to be sharp to kind of like challenge him or go against him, man. I just remember, man, Nigel was selling these books like crack. I'm sorry to say that on this show. He was moving these joints like it was pure product. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, like my table was so dry. You'd have thought I had a controversy with me, man. It was that dry. I will never forget that. I'm just sitting there like,
listen, I had the privilege of being next to Greg Elise. Y'all know Greg. Me and Greg, that's my brother. That's my brother at Brooklyn Comic-Con. But when I tell you that boy, so here's the story about Brooklyn Comic-Con. So Greg was like, he didn't get in. I was like, "Yo, you can come table with me, man. You can come table with me."
Right.
But I looked at the floor plan, and my table was at like the end of the line, and there was nobody next to me.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? We can make some real space here. What's up, Orlando? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome. Also welcome, Sean. Pleasure to see y'all. I was like, you know what? We can make some space here. I have a folding table. I have my mother. She used to do this too. She sold children's books, so she had a folding table. When she passed, it's my table. So I was like, you know what? I'll bring it. So I bring it. I set it up for him. Put it on the edge. I was like, he's like, "Oh man, thank you." When I tell you that man was selling so many doggone books. I was just like, I would just look over like, and then somebody came over to me like, and I was like, "Oh, hey, welcome. Hey, what's going on? You want to see my books?" And he's like, "When is he coming back?" I was like,
"Dog."
But you know what though? Listen, I'm always happy for people's success. No, I'm definitely no.
Just the way it came after that.
I'm always happy for people's success. But it is just like it's to me. It's always like okay, that's the level where I got to get to. Like I got to get to that level. Especially if you see somebody like Greg Burnham, and Marcus Williams and Tuskegee Ayers. Them I tell y'all think I'm joking. They don't sell their book. They just, they sit there like this, and people just come up and just pick up the book. Hey, can I get this one? Can I have it? They don't even tell people what the book is about. They just, they just be sitting there, man. And so like I'm always like, okay, that's the level I need to be at.
Right.
And and this is all like a journey. I've always told people this is a journey for me. Like I'm just taking steps. Every level is a new level. So, like I've done enough cons now that like, people who bought my book early in their year now come back and they're like, oh, hey, let me get that. Let me get that.
Right.
And too many people, in my opinion, look at what we do and when they're trying to do it. Like if you're trying to get in the industry, we don't mean to, but we are all hopeful. And we're hopeful that the thing we'll do is going to be a smash, like immediately. And then when it's not a smash immediately, then it's like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
And I used to think that. I used to be like, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong in marketing and everything. But the more people I met, I'm trying to, hey, listen, man, that's why I'm here. Well, that's what we're here to talk about. But the more people I met in the industry, the more I learned that there are levels to this.
Yeah.
And you have to complete one level before you make the next level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like very few people, their first book they put out hits. Greg Burnham, he talks about all the time how long they were doing Tuskegee Airs before it like hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I started looking at it as, okay, I'm here now. What do I need to do to get here? I'm here now. What do I and that's why I did the whole tour thing, because I was like, the people who I'm trying to emulate, they out there.
Yeah.
Every week, every other week at shows, getting their books, in people's hands like over and over and over again. So I was like, I need to be out there. And I need to be in many shows as I can. It's just out there. You can't do, I mean, in the age of social media, you can, you can kind of your influence. Danny Quick is definitely an example of that.
Blueprint.
Hey, Orlando, man, just keep hustling.
Keep going.
Keep hustling.
Man.
But even Danny says he would like to do like more shows and more, whatnot. It's everything. It's a combination. You got to use social media. You got to be out there. You got to. It's just so many different things you have to do, and reaching the level of like people walk up to me and they just want to buy the book instead of me having to continue to tell you about this book
or pitch it.
Right. Like I'm that's my next level. I'm trying to get past I need to pitch like my book.
Right.
Like I need to be like, I've seen this before. Let me get it because I saw it before and I like it before. Yeah. What level are you looking? What's the level? What's the next level for you?
The next level for me is to get there and kind of piggyback off what you were saying, like like that. What am I doing wrong? Feeling. I'm not saying this, but it's crazy. I've been on Facebook for years, but I say it took me to about 2018 to 2019, give or take a year or two off, where I started learning that it was more people like me in the comic book community, which is crazy. You see what I'm saying? To know that like people are doing the same thing I'm doing, that I'm not the only person going through the same trials and tribulations or whatever. And then to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, what makes it a lot harder to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong, is when you see a peer, like for some reason. I use the prime example. Everybody knows this example. If you don't, you've been living under a rock for the past 6 or 7 years. Trill League. Anthony Piper's Trill League. That man put out a sketch and struck lightning and is off running. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, and everybody, I keep telling everybody can't be that, man. You're not
But
about
we
to
don't
strike
even
light.
we don't even know like his story though. Like
Right,
I've heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how many failed ideas he had or what like that.
Absolutely.
You know?
But see, on the surface level, when you see that, and then you go, okay, well, I could do, like, not even trying to be funny, I could do a black this character too. And it's like everybody can't do that, man. It's like everybody can't do that, and everybody not ready for that type of mountain. Because they no telling what type of, pressure that's on him to even be handcuffed to something that probably was initially just funny. You see what I'm saying? And it's like what became funny is now your fame, and now you have to keep your fame to, keep the lights on. And that's
Right.
what's like kind of to bring it back full circle, the Afro Avenger Black Man argument. Black
You
Man was
froze.
done for.
Your camera froze. I can hear you though, so you can keep talking. It's not a flattering freeze.
And due to Afro Avenger.
There you go. There you go.
So, but to get to a certain level, I want to get to the level where it's like people are buying my books, they're just coming up to me and appreciate me and just know like, hey, I've seen this guy before. I've seen, I'm coming to buy your books again and coming to collect and be a fan and that nature.
But like one of the
froze?
things, yeah, you froze. That's okay. Now you're lagging. I can't hear you. Talk, say something. Kevin, can you hear
Can you
me?
hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Okay, say something. Oh,
Let me see.
Kevin, can you hear me? Kevin.
Yeah, so like no. Oh, so
Can
you
you hear
break
me?
dancing. Yeah, that must be my internet.
Can you hear me?
That must be my internet. You break
Kevin,
dancing.
can you hear me?
In
Can
your
you
voice
hear
now.
me? Everybody, can y'all hear me? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get off the stream. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I'm going to get off the stream and we're going to keep going. We're going to come back on. Yeah, Jay, you can hear me? Okay, cool. So it's Kevin. We can't hear you, man. So Kevin is frozen. But anyway, like if y'all got any questions, feel free to hit me up in the chat while Kevin is can you hear me, Kevin?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Here we go. There we go.
But
for the record, that was Keith's internet.
That was what? What did you say?
I said that was the internet, man. It was messing up. Go ahead, say what you about to say.
I was just gonna say, but yeah, it's levels. It's also under having a genuine, like a good perspective on everything. Understand. Like one of the things I have had to learn is that somebody else's time, just because it's somebody else's time, doesn't mean that my time isn't coming.
That's a great that for real.
And then also, whatever moves you make might not bear fruit until later. One of the a good example I can have is somebody I saw at a con early in the year. Like early in the year. It was in Massachusetts. Somebody saw me at a con. They saw me. They didn't come to my table. They like walked by my table. They didn't buy my book. But this past con I did another con in Boston a couple weeks ago. They were like, "Oh, I saw you at that con. I didn't get your book." And I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna get it?" And I was like, yeah. I like the artwork. I just didn't. I was gonna come back, but I didn't. And so they ended up buying the book then. So it's one of those things where it's it's a cliche, but the work you put in is what you get out.
True.
And then sometimes you got to look at whatever it is you're doing and be like, maybe it's not hitting because the idea is not good.
Yeah, that is
like that's a tough thing. That's a tough conversation to have. with yourself is to be like, maybe I need to do something different. Because if I wasn't selling like if Heat wasn't selling anything, like if I was at a con and I wasn't selling nothing, I probably would have left Heat in the dirt a while ago. But it hit, when I did Strong, if Strong wasn't hitting, I would have probably been like, let me try something else. And you just have to watch people's dollars. You know what I mean? Like, it's a business, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm the same way. Like Afro Venture, kind of like the fan base that I was able to grow with Afro Venture. Actually, is what kept me coming back, and like there's just the followers that tell me this is dope, or I want to learn more and stuff like that. Whatever the case may be, it's just like it keeps me going. Cause I'm the same way. Cause like, boy, if you ever, I'm gonna send you a copy with your whatchamacallit, man. When you look at this issue 1, you gonna ask yourself like, yeah, Kev must have loved this character, because boy, how did it get out the gate? Because what I tell you, it was just hey, together it's a comic, saddle stitching, like, yeah, like, I tell you, it was just like one of those, man. But like my growth is my journey. Like my growth is my journey with the character, with my art style, with my technique, and just being able to fall in love with that character, and hopefully sooner or later branch out to the other ideas that I post on Facebook on the daily. You know what I mean? From War Dogs to the movement to Unique to all of that. Like, it's just, hopefully something else is gonna catch the flame that I'm putting out with Afro Vendor. Right now it is currently Black Men Internal Conflict. And I'm gonna ride that out till the wheels fall off and sell that last book and be done with it.
Hey, listen, man, I understand. I get it. I get it. I truly get it. Trust me. These things, we put so much of ourselves into them that, sometimes you just want to be like,
yeah. Like the sandwich is made, time to bite it, time to finish it, and go about my day. It's that's where I'm at with it. It's like, hopefully, I don't see him again. Hopefully, I don't, have to do a story again. Like, don't get me wrong, the best part of being a creator and an artist is getting the idea down and just seeing what it looks like visually, and and being able to do that with him even for a short period of time. It was worth it. It was worth it. It helped. It was healing. But it's over, dog. It's like a summer fling, like what my man John Travolta said in Greece. Summer loving.
I've never watched Grease. I've never watched Grease. Never all the way through.
Okay, well, not all the way through.
I've maybe seen like clips of it.
There's hood dudes that have watched Grease. Like,
here's the deal. Like, listen, there are certain movies that are even too Caucasoid for me. Like, I like a lot of like movies that, like, black folk wouldn't ride with.
Yeah,
because they're very, they're very Caucasian. That's fine. Like, I love Friends. I love Friends. Friends is one of my favorite shows. Friends is one of my favorite shows. I will die on that hill. Like, I don't care. It's one of my favorite shows.
Okay.
But Grease, number one, Grease takes place in an era which wasn't really kind to us. So
fair point in hindsight. Wasn't no brothers going to John Tillman High School, whatever that school is.
You know what it reminds me of? You ever heard of that show? What was the name of the show? It was called Timeless.
Yeah.
With the three people traveling. And it was funny because like every episode, they would be like, we're going to go to back in time to this time. And the black dude be like, that might not be great for me.
Yeah.
That might not be great for me.
And, like, it's never cool for a black dude back in the
right. It's never cool. There's nowhere you can go. There's no time in the past that's great for us.
Nah, brother. No. Listen. Well, I've never seen The Color Purple. Hey, I know people that never seen Five
Wow.
Heartbeats.
I just rewatched that again this week. No joke. No
Hey,
joke. I love that show.
like, man, I just like, I mean, like, I listen. Everybody got a little, Caucasoid TV, and I'm like,
Just
shoot,
love it. I love Seinfeld.
that's what I can't do. I cannot do
Seinfeld is
Seinfeld.
hilarious.
I do not. I'm gonna tell you which one. I'm gonna tell you which one. I know I'm probably gonna get stabbed in the eye on this one too.
Oh boy,
I do
here we
not
go.
I do not get the point of The Office. The Office to me is funny in clips. Like when they put their best clips together, funniest moments. Them things are hilarious. I watch the show and go, what was the point of this?
So here's the deal. I only got into The Office maybe a couple of years ago.
Really?
And it was because I think it was either on Netflix or they had just started airing the episodes on like a certain channel.
Right.
I don't like Steve Carell's character.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Steve Carell's character. He's not funny to me.
Right.
And I think maybe if I watched it when it had come out, I probably would be a little okay with the racial humor.
Yeah,
because
true.
I don't have a problem with there every now and again you see like a white character that's racist that's kind of funny, but it just didn't hit for me. But like you said, the clips of them, there's certain episodes that are so freaking funny to me. And I actually like the show when Carell was off of it because I felt like everybody else got funnier. But I can understand how like you might be like,
it didn't work for me. Like, I mean, like hell, I just had to like. And my thing is like, I know my taste buds is weird. Like, I had to explain Becker to somebody. I just basically said Becker was
I never
PG-13.
watched Becker. Wait, Becker was with Ted Danson, right?
Ted Danson. Becker was nothing but PG-13 house. That's the best way I could put Becker.
You know what's funny? I never watched an episode of it, but like I would always see clips of it because I would watch something that came on after it.
After it. Becker was the type of show, right? I never knew when it came on, when it was in its peak or whatever you want to call it. But Becker was the type of show that for some reason was always on after church. Like after Sunday service on Fox or something like that for me. Like that's how I always
see after church for you is different after church for me. I go to church on Saturday. I go to church on Saturday, so I understand that. I'll give you a show that you probably have never watched. Okay. You might not have even heard about.
Okay.
News Radio.
I've heard of the show.
News Radio is one of the absolute funniest shows I've ever watched.
News Radio.
I wish, because it's got Phil Hartman in it.
Okay, fair.
It's got Dave Foley in it.
Okay.
You know the movie? What is the movie? The movie about the people in the office. It's a movie about an office. It's like it's not The Office, but it's like an office job or something.
Oh, Office Space.
Yeah. So the weird guy in Office Space is in it.
Oh yeah. Because not to cut you off, I think is that the clip that been floating around my timeline where he tried to like want to marry the girl and they be having it like it's a negotiation or something like that.
Yes.
Like two kids. How did that work for you? No, don't think so. And like,
yes. That's News Radio.
Yeah. Like, I actually found that clip funny, but I've heard of News Radio before. Like, so
News Radio. I found out that Amazon Prime was playing it
really
last year when I got COVID last year. And I was like, I found it and I was like, okay, this is a good time to have COVID. Bruh, I rewatched like I think it's like 3 good seasons and then Phil Hartman died. Yeah. And then it kind of fell off.
After that.
But there's so many it's very absurd. It's
Got you.
absurdist comedy. Like,
Got you.
you know what I mean? It's almost like a live, it would be it's like a live action version of like the type of stuff that like The Simpsons or Family Guy does.
Really?
I really wish I could explain it to you. If you have Amazon Prime, just you got to give it a few episodes. But
Okay.
but it's I loved it. I'm trying to think of another show that you know, I'll give you another movie. I'm gonna give you a movie.
Okay.
Have you ever watched That Thing You Do?
Of course.
That is, I love that movie.
The greatest scene in I'm pulling a Danny Quick. The greatest scene, top 5 in history.
Oh
is
boy.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit. I quit. I quit. Hey, tell you what. That joint is hilarious.
It's funny because I talk to so many, like I'll talk to black folk and I'll be like, yeah, man, I watched, you know, That Thing You Do. And they be like when we did top 5 fictional songs, movie songs, like songs that are in a movie that aren't real, but are real
Right.
in the movie.
Yeah.
And I did That Thing You Do. And Danny and Morgan looked at me like I was crazy. They were just like, what? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because the most black people, that's a fever dream. Like, for the last couple days, obviously I Googled it, but for like the last couple days to a few weeks, I know for a fact people was looking like I was having like bugs crawling out my eyes. There was a cartoon on MTV about this teenager with an alien living in his head, I think. And it's like, fam, I was trying to figure it out. Like, granted,
I don't remember what it was, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I had the power of Google. It's called The Head or something like that. But I was like, trying to figure out for the longest. And people looking at me like, what? I know about Dario or Eon Flux. Somebody brought up Eon Flux to me. And it's like, fam, there was literally a cartoon on MTV about the dude. He had an alien living in his head. I don't know if he was on Adventures or what. It was weird. And it's like, that was like a fever dream. But yeah, that.
I'll give you a cartoon that I talk to people about and they look at me like I'm crazy.
What?
You remember Turbo Teen?
Of course, the most horrific transformation in cartoon history. Like that man mouth turns into the radiator. that man, yo, when he gets hot, listen, for anybody who doesn't know what Turbo Teen is, the man was driving his car and of course he crashed into like a toxic waste factory or something.
No. It was like a scientific thing, and then it got hit with lasers or something.
Yeah, and
it turned
he was able to transform into his car when he got overheated. Fam, if you want to be horrified, look up Turbo Teen transformation. It's the most horrific thing put to cartoon. And Rambo and RoboCop was a cartoon, so that should tell you something.
And but you know what though? I love the hell out of that cartoon. Like I used to pretend I'd be like do my hands like. I used to love that show. Y'all learning a lot about me tonight. That's all right. When he does the, you know what I'm talking about.
Listen, I'm about to throw people a curveball.
Okay, I'm here.
My fiance didn't believe me, so I had to put it on YouTube, and she was so confused by my amazement to me. Everybody know who the Power Rangers is, right?
Yeah.
Power Rangers. If you don't, Power Rangers is a show that a company took footage from a Japanese show, added American actors to it, meshed it together, made billions of dollars. Another company said, we're not going to do that. We're going to take our little bitty money and make our own thing.
Go by.
That own thing, bullshit you not, was the tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly.
No, I've heard of that. I've heard of that. I know, I've heard of that.
Dog.
I've heard of that.
It is the most cheesiest.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious. Like, it's one of those things like you gotta watch to believe. Like I was telling my fiance, she said, well, how do they know when the world is in trouble? Oh, the alien gave them tattoos, and when it's in trouble, the tattoos glow. Dog, you'd have thought I was trying to sell cocaine to somebody. So she was looking at me like I was crazy.
Dude, I remember there was the show with the guys who had like, so it was a couple of shows. What was the cartoon with the guys had like the holograms on their chest?
Oh yeah, Visionaries.
So there's that one, and then there's one with like, is it Dino Riders?
Oh, yeah.
Where they
But
put
they was in Cadillacs, right? They was like giant dinosaurs in Cadillacs.
No, it was like people putting armor on dinosaurs.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was.
You gotta understand, man. In my day, when I was that age, I used to just get up on Saturday mornings. Like, see, again, I'm talking about something that if you're not of a certain age, you have no idea what I'm talking about. So if you weren't born until 1995, you don't know what I'm talking about right now. All right? So this is old man Javon talking right now. That's fine. Okay. We okay here. Because back in the day, the only time you were getting cartoons on TV was Saturday mornings on Saturday mornings, and then Nickelodeon came around and they Thunder the Barbarian.
Yeah.
But it was like Saturday mornings, and then they expanded it to Sundays. I remember that.
Yep.
They used to do like cartoons on Saturday and Sunday because it wasn't Sundays in the beginning.
Yep.
I remember then they started doing them both. So I would legit wake up, and it was early too. This was this is how crazy
you had to catch it by 7 a.m. just to start catching the time slides.
No, so not even. It was like 6:30. I remember getting up at like 6:30.
I remember getting up. I was born in '86. You know, showing my age.
See,
I remember getting up. I remember getting up for Hammerman.
Oh man, I was already up, dude.
I was already up, dude. Hammerman
with them talking shoes.
Cartoon. Yeah, it's talking shoes. I remember getting up for Kid and Play. I remember getting up for. I think Creepy Crawlers had a cartoon when it was superheroes. Yep. Toxic Crusader.
I had the toys. I absolutely
had the toys. Dog, Beetlejuice had a cartoon.
Beetlejuice. Absolutely. Come on, Beetlejuice. Man. I used to do Captain N and the it was a Captain N and then
the N verse or the N Force or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then it was Mario Brothers. It was like a See, I'm gonna go back even further. I remember waking up and it was like it was the Captain America and something else. What was it? It was Captain America and Iron Man. They had a cartoon.
When they were doing the Steel comic books, right? When they was like the Steel?
No, they were like they were literally like animated pages of the comics.
Of the comics.
Yeah. Like they were stills. Stills. Yeah.
Like Tony Stark, he's the man.
I remember the original, not the original Ghostbusters.
Real Ghostbusters or the original Ghostbusters?
Was it the real The original Ghostbusters is the one with the ape.
Oh yeah. That's why the cartoon was called The Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and it used to make me mad every time it came on because I was like, I don't want this. Like, don't give me the knockoff. Like, I want the real deal. I
might have to Google this.
Go ahead.
There's this cartoon I used to wake up to. And as a kid, I used to enjoy it, but as a grown black man,
oh boy, what?
This was so bad. Everybody know the Jetsons. It was this cartoon of like black futuristic kids lived in like a shack, and they had like this jive talking spaceship called Rickety Rocket. It was called Rickety. Google Rickety Rocket, and dog, you gonna see
you ain't never said a word. Rickety Rocket?
What?
What?
Big lipped shit.
I have seen this before.
It was poor in the future. And then every time he blast off, it'd be some old Scatman Carruthers talking ass shit. Like, Rickety Rocket.
I remember that. But see, one of my favorite parts was the progression, right? Because like because like when you're a kid, you don't care about like teenager stuff. But like Saved by the Bell was on, so like right around the time I hit when Saved by the I cared, then it was like Saved by the Bell, Then it was like
Right.
cartoons would go up until like 10, 11, and then it was like Saved by the Bell, and then California Dreams, and then City Guys, and then it will always end with NBA Hang Time. It will always end with NBA Hang Time.
By the time I started getting older, man, it was like cartoons would be over by 12. You talking about Saturday, going into Sunday.
And then Sunday had like when they started doing Sunday, they had Wish Kid.
Yeah, I remember Wish Kid.
Pirates of Dark Water.
Of the Dark Water or something like that.
Right?
I remember that.
Conan was on there. On. That's when they did Savage Dragon. Dragon and Wildcats used to come on Sundays.
Let's roar, cats.
Terrible, man. that thing was terrible.
Hey, every time you listen, when I see something like Savage Dragon and Wildcats, I go to YouTube every once in a while and find like the little promotional thing they put together for Youngblood. I'm like, I'm so glad y'all didn't get,
you know what though? Listen, I bet you Eric liked that check. I bet you he was quite
absolutely.
I have not had Eric Larson on my show. I have spoken to him on Facebook alone. That's it. But I'm pretty sure he liked that check. He did not have a problem with that check.
And then, man, like, I remember The Mask was a cartoon. Ace Ventura was a cartoon.
Yep. I remember that.
Dumb and Dumber was a cartoon.
I never watched Dumb and Dumber though. I think those were once those shows were on. It was like I was aging out of because I had hit a point because I think it was around the time when I first started going to church on Saturday. Like that was almost the end of my Saturday morning cartoon. Because like then I was like, okay, I gotta get up and I gotta go to church, and you know. And then when I was going to church, and the people that go to my church know what I'm talking about. When you go to church in the morning, you don't come home until like midnight, 1 o'clock. Because I would literally be Sabbath school, church. We go to somebody's house for dinner, or we stay at the church for dinner. Then we have the afternoon service. AY was what they call it. And then you have recreation. So they would rent out a gym and let people play basketball or play games or whatever. So by the time there were Saturdays where I would have to bring a change of clothes with me because I was not coming home until like midnight, 1 o'clock.
Man,
like people do not like. I wish I could explain to people why that was fine with us. I mean, because you know, at that time, there's no social media, so you got to talk to each other. So you know, we talk to each other. You know, nobody's on their cell phones. You know, we all of us are the same age. We all hanging out. So it's just it was a different time. It's a different time. I don't even think people really do that much anymore. People go home now a lot more for church. But then so like I started watching I started watching cartoons on Sunday, but then I started to bleed it because then I used to do this thing called like Pathfinders, which if you don't know is like Boys Girls Club for Seventh-day Adventists.
Right.
Which means I'm up at 9 o'clock and I ain't home until because then I would have to stay after and do other things. So I ain't home till like 2:30, 3 o'clock. So that was the end of all that cartoon watching, and then by that time, you know, Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon kind of like swooped in.
That's why I got into my Hanna-Barbera bag with the Cartoon Network. That was like my thing, because like by time I say like 95 was like peak all that Wild and Crazy Kids, Legend of the Hidden Temple.
I missed all that.
Yeah, that was for me. As far as that goes, was like, man, like I think still to this day, one of the most obscure and funny cartoons that I don't remember vaguely, but I remember I used to watch as a kid a lot was Hyperman.
Wait, what is the name of it?
Hyperman.
Hyperman. That sounds familiar.
Exactly. His name was Hyperman, and To
Was
this
that
day,
Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon?
it was like ABC at the time when ABC was trying to tackle the whole cartoon thing. Matter of fact, it was around the time after BTS and Superman got like piping hot. Like it was
Hyperman?
Hyperman.
HYP? What does he look like?
I think he like red, like a big H on his chest.
And white hair?
Yeah.
I had this. I absolutely had this. I have not thought about this in ages.
Yeah, you got a big red suit with like yellow boots, like a blue
Now
H on
I
his
tell
chest.
you, when I started going to my other favorite time for cartoons was peak Nickelodeon, like at mornings and
Oh yeah,
afternoons.
yeah,
Like when,
yeah.
like, you know, and you never saw them unless you were home from sick from school.
Yep.
So like Gummy Bears,
Yes.
Fraggle Rock,
Yes.
Muppet Babies.
Yes.
Actually,
Baby.
Muppet Babies was a Saturday morning cartoon too, though.
Muppet Snorks.
Snorks. Yeah. So like
Chipmunks. Yeah.
and I never saw them unless because like when I got sick as a kid, I used to go to my grandmother's house.
Okay.
And I would stay at my grandmother's house because my mom had to work, and you know.
You ain't never watched the Sick Day King?
What is that?
You ain't never watched the Sick Day King? You ain't never watched Bob Barker?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen.
Sick Day King, Price is Right, baby.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, me and Bob Barker are old friends. Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, all that. Yeah.
Listen,
but like you know, I didn't. When I was growing up, I didn't have cable.
Right.
We didn't get cable. Man, we didn't get cable for years. Like we just didn't have cable until like I was like a teenager.
Like my grandfather was a TV head, so it was like
mine too.
I remember this is gonna show you like how I was raised and like just how kids today is soft. So what? I said it. I remember.
No, there. It's okay.
I remember.
It's a safe space.
I remember the first time we got cable, and I remember we first got HBO for the first time, and it was that long intro over the city and stuff like that into the feature presentation. And my 6-year-old mind was exploded when the first thing I saw in there, and they let me watch, was RoboCop. For anybody who knows what RoboCop is, no 6-year-old kid should be watching RoboCop.
And I watched it. I don't care. Honestly, Beetlejuice is traumatizing. Like, I don't think people quite understand. What movie did I watch that? Like, I used to get traumatized by freaking
I'm a trump you with two. I'm a trump you with two. People were scared of Chucky and Candyman and Freddy the Krueger when I was a kid. I was terrified, petrified of that troll from Ernest Scared Stupid. That thing was horrific to me. That, like, you talking about something I couldn't sleep nights thinking about that troll. It was that, and a lot of people give me flack for this. You know what used to like terrorize me as a kid? When Christopher Lloyd got ran over by that steamroller.
Oh yeah.
Judge Doom and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and he came back to life.
What's her name? Is it Large Marge?
Yes, the greatest. The greatest jump scare in history. Yeah,
you have the amount of therapy I probably needed from that scene alone. It's substantial.
Dog.
It's substantial. Like she literally, like, to this day, man, every time, like, I've watched that movie and I have to prepare myself for it because
you get clenched up. It's like, I remember one time it was so bad for me. I tried to time it so I wouldn't get scared and still got scared. I'm like, I had to come right here. Oh shit,
man, listen, let me tell you, when we did get cable though, that was like a beautiful day to me, man. Because I promise you, we didn't get cable for a while, like a while.
Okay,
it was like 16, 17, 18 years old. We got cable. Then I was just, oh my God, there's a whole world here. Like I had, I'd go to my grandmother's house and they had cable, but
Right.
like, you can't just, you know, take over the remote. But
Nah, fam. I
nah,
remember
for
I
me, it was like my like once we got cable and we got like it wasn't even HBO. Like my fondest memories, and again, y'all learn about me today. It's okay. Um, my fondest memories is before I really made friends as a 7A Adventist.
Mhm.
I came home, at night. Like, I really
Mhm.
wasn't doing all that yet. All that, no, I wasn't doing it. So me and my mom, and this was actually when we were, like we would have like movie nights, and we would do
Mhm.
like we, and it's crazy when I think about it now. We used to watch
Mhm.
Tales from the Crypt together.
That's a classic, man.
We used to
That's
watch Tales from the Crypt, and we would
uh,
watch Tales from the Crypt together. There was this thing that used to come on. It was called Rising Sun, something Sun. It was these two Asian brothers who these two Asian brothers. One was a cop and one was like a drug dealer or something.
I know what you're talking
What is the
about.
name of the son?
I can't
But
I
it, it
can't I
but
can't
it was
think to
like
save my
part
life.
of
I know what you're
this.
talking
It was part of this like it was like two shows, and like you never knew
about.
which show was gonna come on. Like it was we used to spend a lot of time like watching movies. So like when we got cable, then it was like, all
Uh-huh.
right, we watch, and it just baffles my mind. I used to watch Tales from the Crypt with my mom, like it was nothing.
Mm, Listen, dog, like
Like of
as a
all the
kid,
shows to watch.
as a
Oh,
kid.
but like Fridays though, before
Mhm.
it was obviously Family Matters,
Oh yeah.
Dinosaurs, Perfect Strangers, Step by Step,
Oh, see, yeah, you was watching the good
Full
joints.
House.
You was watching the good joints.
Oh man, listen.
I got bought like Family Matters was for me. I know, but by time I got up to Family Matters, I think they moved to Thursdays. 'Cause I think it was like Family Matters, the Cosby's, and something else. They wasn't on the same channel, but it was like
Oh,
on different channel. But it was on Thursdays. It was like because I
I
think
don't
Boy
remember
Meets
that.
World and Family Matters used to come on the same joint, and it was something else. I can't remember for the life of me, man. But yeah, no, I haven't tested you in forever, Javon.
All right, I'm here.
I haven't tested you in forever. You said you used to be thirsty for anything superhero movies back in the day because as you young people who are, blessed to have you have great, some bad, whatever you want to call it. You have superhero movies at your palette. For people like me and Javon, we took what we could get. Darkman, Mantis, Black Scorpion for some of y'all who stayed up watching Showtime. Like so, Javon,
I'm listening.
have you ever heard of the movie Faust, Love of the Damned?
Oh yeah, I know what that is. I used to read the book. I used to read the comic.
As a kid, I saw it as a movie first. I just like, oh, this is just a cool knockoff superhero movie Spawn. As an adult, I found out it was a comic. I'm like, oh, okay.
I knew about the comic. Yeah, I know about Faust. Come on, listen, man.
Okay.
You gotta wake up a little earlier than that. I'm
Hey,
telling
I
you, I
listen.
was thirsty,
I,
man.
I knew I couldn't stump you when you told me you knew what Dark Avenger was.
No, I knew
When you
that one.
knew,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. When you,
I'm
I
telling you,
said, I said,
if it was like remotely superhero esque, I was
mm,
watching it.
yeah.
Generation X, I watched that.
I watched Generation
Uh,
X too.
what else? Dark Man, not Dark Man, Nightman.
Nightman, I watched Nightman too. You Jazz player by day,
Jazz Player by Day. That was awful,
superhero
dude.
by.
The Cape. Remember the
Oh,
Cape?
I remember the
I
Cape,
watched the
but
Cape. I watched that.
see,
That was
and you know it's
terrible.
crazy. The Cape was ahead of his time, and just two or three good more writers from making that show work.
And some better special effects.
Facts, absolutely.
No, I
That's
was I was listen, man. I was thirsty, dude. Like that when people, I'm telling you, when people complain about the MCU nowadays, I'm like,
mm,
you clearly were born in 2000.
like y'all wasn't there when Punisher was sitting in the sewer ass naked. You know what I mean?
No, you weren't. You weren't.
You weren't sitting there with Captain America with the rubber ears on his mask, man, with the plastic.
Forget the rubber ears when he had the helmet.
When he had the helmet. Y'all wasn't there for Condor Man. Thought you was gonna get something doper than that, man. Greatest American hero. Yeah,
y'all weren't here for that. Nope, you don't understand. So that for me, I feel like it's just like I see. To me, there's quality now that doesn't exist. There's just quality. And people complain about the movies now. I'm like, I don't think you know. Like, again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. People are searching for that end game feeling. And if it doesn't give you the end game feeling, it failed.
Yeah.
And not only that, we are spoiled. We're spoiled in the sense that the level of quality that we've gotten accustomed to it. And so we don't really, you don't really know what you're saying when you're saying, oh, I'll give you, Love and Thunder wasn't great. Yeah. But if Love and Thunder had came out like, if Love and Thunder came out in like 1995, it would have been considered the greatest comic book movie of all time.
Of all time.
The worst MCU movie would be considered one of the best comic book movies if it had come out in like 2001.
And you talking about an age at the time where everybody was trying to copy off the blueprint of Tim Burton, where it just had to, black leather was cool and, doing like the darker and edgier stuff.
Yes, sir.
And Crow and Barbed Wire and Stallone's first take on Judge. It was
so bad.
Hey, you talk about that, like
Judge Dredd, not good.
Judge Dredd, Stallone's Dredd was not good at all, man. It's like, so yeah, trust me when we tell you, like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like it's a limited view of movies, and like even people of our generation are like saying, "Well, this movie's not so great now," and I'm like, you were there for Spawn, you were there for Daredevil. Balancing on a doggone a thing in the middle of broad daylight. You were there for this. So how can you say that this is bad? Like Black Widow movie wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
It was not a bad movie.
It was properly placed and properly timed. By the time it came out, it's like it's not saying we don't care, but it's like
the problem is it should have come out before Infinity War.
Exactly.
If it had come out before Infinity War, it will be looked at fondly.
Point well taken.
It's like I said, I get annoyed talking to people about comic book movies because because I remember how bad they were. And none of the movies that have come out are as bad as the worst movies that it came out in the 90s and in the 80s.
Y'all complaining about these superhero movies. Y'all wasn't there. A young kid like me, just enamored by anything with hero name and man at the end of it. Like, y'all wasn't there for me.
Bro, I watched Hammerman. All right, y'all. I want y'all to understand this. I sat and watched Hammerman of my own free will.
Javon got my queen on the board in the corner. Y'all wasn't there with me watching Sergeant Kabuki, man, NYPD.
I actually know that.
Y'all wasn't there for me, man. So trust
y'all
me.
Weren't there for Banana Man. I was there.
Not Banana Man.
All right. You don't know. You don't know about Danger Mouse. I was there.
Yeah, man, they don't know about Danger Mouse.
So when you complain that Thor: Love and Thunder wasn't the greatest movie of all time, I'm gonna sit you down. And we're gonna watch Barbed Wire. We're gonna watch Tank Girl. We're gonna watch Tank Girl. All right.
Y'all wasn't there for.
Tell me again. You watch that movie, and then you come back to me and you tell me if Thor is the worst comic book movie you've ever seen.
Listen, y'all wasn't there for Warriors of Virtue, man.
Oh man,
Y'all wasn't there
I
for
know you're
Warriors
talking
of
about.
Virtue.
All right,
Y'all wasn't
man.
there for Warriors of Virtue.
We gotta call it because I gotta get back to work. But as always, you know, it's always good to have you on, man. And
Appreciate it.
listen, man, we're looking forward to Afro Avengers' next adventure. Oh, look at that Black Man T-shirt.
Black Man shirts are in for your reward, people. They in.
I wanted to get
stickers.
one, but you know, I'm broke, so
yeah,
you know,
stickers are in.
Who did the artwork for the stickers?
I did. You know me. It's a one.
I can't
it's a
see.
one stop.
I can't see.
It's a one-stop shop,
Good
baby.
That's a good joint, man.
It's a one-stop shop, baby.
Hey,
stickers,
now,
posters is in.
Is Afro Avenger in Fight Club?
In Fight, nah. What's Fight Club?
Is he going to be a part of the crossover?
I think Danny sent me the email or Brad sent me the email. I think Brad sent me the email.
Did you put the information in?
I think so. I believe
so. Man, get on that, man. Get on that.
Okay, I want to see this Fight Club, man. Y'all better not put Afro Avenger against some,
When I say Fight Club, when I use Fight Club, that's just my code for, you know, and nobody talks about Fight Club. That's
gotcha. I see what you're saying, because you know what I get sick of, man. I get sick of people like, yo, man. I'm not saying you say this, but it's like, yo, man, you should put Afro Avenger versus Heat. Like, my superhero catches the bus to work. Like, no. Like, he works at a community center. He puts on sweatpants to fight crime.
I'm not one of those creators, fans who is incredibly is so focused on my hero can be your hero. Like, right. I don't really care. Like,
yeah.
I used to be about that, but in reality, I'm just not there anymore. Like, I don't care. Like,
I feel you.
If I needed Afro Avenger to beat Heat, I could write that. Yeah. If I needed Heat to beat, you know, whoever, I can write that.
Right.
So,
hey, Batman, Superman every day.
Every day. But thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it as always.
Always. Thank y'all.
You're always welcome. We can always chop it up. You need to be coming on top 5 more. I don't understand why you don't come on top 5 more.
Hey man, listen, the last invites you've been sending me, I'll literally be either gone or at work, and it's like,
hey, listen, man. Hey. We gotta get you on, man. All right. Want to thank everybody for stopping by for the vibes. Thank you for stopping by for another Stoked podcast. Go on and get that. If you haven't gotten Afro Avenger yet, get Afro Avenger. If you want it,
AfroAvenger.com.
AfroAvenger.com. Is Black Man available for sale, or is that done for the Kickstarter?
The Kickstarter people will get their stuff in November. Black Man Internal Conflict will officially be on sale in December for anybody who didn't back the Kickstarter. So look out for Black Man in December.
Okay. All right. So thank you. And y'all have a great weekend. Hopefully, those people that are at New York Comic Con, hopefully I see you there Saturday. Thank you for stopping by at Stoked Podcast, Creative Talk of Creative People. I'll see y'all next week. No, not next week.
Not next week. Hey, you got to fit them into your schedule.
I know. See you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. All right. Peace.
Later.